Welcome to the Mindful Practice Podcast, a space for physicians navigating burnout, identity shifts, and career change without pressure or judgment. I'm your host, Dr. Bertina Hooks, a board-certified internal medicine physician, coach, and writer. Here we talk honestly about what it means to build a sustainable career and a life beyond medicine and survival. Hello, and welcome to the Mindful Practice Podcast. My name is Dr. Bertina Hooks, a board-certified internal medicine physician, coach who helps physicians and high-achieving professionals with burnout recovery, career identity and clarity, and most importantly, career reinvention that is sustainable and aligned with their values. Welcome to the second episode of the Career Clarity and Pivot series. And I think one of the biggest mistakes physicians make when they feel professionally unhappy is trying to pivot before they have clarity. They immediately start searching for another job, another contract, another opportunity, and you can easily recreate the same dissatisfaction in a different environment. Physicians are not lacking opportunities. They're lacking clarity, because clarity isn't just about what job should I do. It's about what kind of life and career am I trying to build? What kind of work environment allows me to thrive? And what type of flexibility do I want? What kind of energy do I want my career to give me instead of take from me? And that's what we're going to talk about today in today's episode. Because before the pivot comes clarity. This series is built around the Phoenix Position Pivot Framework. In the last episode, I talked about why physicians do not simply need another job. They need a strategy. And today, I want to talk about one of the most important parts of the career reinvention process, clarity. Because I think many physicians are making major career decisions from exhaustion, fear, frustration, or urgency, instead of intentional reflection. And that matters, because when you pivot without clarity, you often pivot into another version of the same problem. Why many physicians feel confused? I think many physicians have spent so many years achieving, surviving, performing, and pushing through. But they've never actually paused to ask themselves, what do I truly want? And medicine trains us to focus on productivity, performance, achievement, and external validation. But very few physicians are taught how to intentionally design a career aligned with their lifestyle, values, well-being, flexibility, identity, or purpose. So what happens? Many physicians wake up one day feeling disconnected, restless, emotionally and physically exhausted, or professionally trapped, but they cannot clearly articulate why. And I think one of the reasons for that is because physicians often lose touch with themselves while building careers around expectations. Expectations from training, institutions, the healthcare system, family, culture, colleagues, and even their younger selves. But eventually, many physicians reach a point where they realize the version of success I was chasing may no longer fit with who I am becoming. And that realization can be both liberating, and terrifying. Trust me, I've been there. Now let's talk about the clarity phase of the framework. Inside the Phoenix Position Pivot framework, clarity is the second phase. And this phase is all about reflection and intentional self-assessment, not impulsive action, not panic, not immediately quitting your job. Reflection. And you have to create that time and space to reflect and do that self-assessment. Because before physicians can strategically pivot, they need to understand what they actually want, what they value, and what no longer aligns. And I think many physicians skip this step because they're so desperate for relief that they rush toward any opportunity that looks different. But different does not always mean aligned, and that's very important. If you strategically pivot without that clarity, you're going to become burned out in another position, in another scenario, because you're not fixing the root of the problem. And that root of the problem is resolved with clarity. Questions that create clarity. I want to walk you through some of the questions I think physicians should begin asking themselves during this phase. And honestly, these are the kinds of conversations we can have inside the intensives through Pinnacle Business Academy. Because clarity is not just intellectual, it's personal. Question number 1. What do I want more of? This is such a powerful question, and it's important that each physician answers it for themselves. What do you want more of in your life and career? Do you want flexibility, autonomy, creativity, leadership, impact, peace, financial growth, location freedom, diversification? Because many physicians spend more time focusing on what they want to escape than what they actually want to build. And that's important. Clarity requires vision. Question number 2. What is draining me right now? Is it the schedule, the call schedule, productivity pressure, lack of autonomy, administrative overload, emotional exhaustion, lack of growth, a toxic culture, lack of flexibility? And I think physicians need to become honest about what is consistently depleting them, because awareness creates strategy. It's important to do a value energy audit, which I talk about in the intensives and with individual physicians when I do peer coaching. Question number 3. What kind of lifestyle do I actually want? I think this one is one of the most overlooked questions in medicine, because many physicians build careers first, and then they try to force their lives around them, instead of intentionally building careers that support the lives they want to live. I did this for the beginning of my career. I kept jumping from different positions, trying to make the career fit the lifestyle that I wanted, or the job fit the lifestyle that I wanted, instead of intentionally creating the job or the career around the lifestyle that I wanted. Do you want remote work, more family time, flexibility, travel, entrepreneurship, leadership, diversified income, fewer clinical hours, creative freedom? These questions matter because your career should support your life, not consume it. Question number 4. What strengths do I already have? Physicians often underestimate how transferable their skills are. We have leadership experience, communication skills, adaptability, crisis management, systems thinking, educational experience, operational experience, problem-solving abilities. But many physicians become so identified with one role that they stop recognizing the broader value they bring. And clarity requires recognizing your existing strengths. Why clarity comes before positioning? This is key. One of the reasons I emphasize clarity before positioning is because strategy without clarity creates confusion. You cannot effectively optimize your LinkedIn profile, optimize your curriculum vitae, position your experience, network intentionally, or explore aligned pathways if you have no idea what direction you're trying to move toward. And I think many physicians jump into random certifications and degrees, endless scrolling, reactive job applications, and comparison without developing an intentional roadmap. But career pivots become much more strategic when clarity comes first. Clarity is not found through overthinking. I want physicians to understand something important. Clarity does not always come through sitting alone and endlessly thinking. Often, clarity develops through action, conversations, networking, exploration, informational interviews, experimentation, coaching, reflection, but most importantly, action. It's important to take that first step. I think many physicians become trapped in analysis paralysis because they believe they need certainty before making a step. But sometimes the next step creates the clarity that you were looking for, not the other way around. Reflection questions. I want to leave you with a few reflection questions for this week. Question number 1. What do I want more of in my life and career right now? Question number 2. What am I tolerating that no longer aligns with the person I am becoming? Question number 3. If money, fear, and judgment were removed from the equation, what would you explore professionally? Question number 4. What kind of lifestyle do I actually want my career to support? Question number 5. Am I making career decisions from clarity or from confusion and exhaustion? These reflection questions are important to answer because it will give you the clarity that you need to take the next step. If this episode resonated with you, I want to invite you to explore the Career Clarity and Pivot Intensives through Pinnacle Business Academy, my physician coaching business. Inside these intensives, we go much deeper into career clarity, strategic positioning, career pivots, career pathways, networking, and informational interviewing, visibility, curriculum vitae, and LinkedIn optimization, and building an intentional roadmap for your next chapter of your career. Because physicians deserve more than survival. They deserve alignment. And if you've been feeling professionally stuck, uncertain, or disconnected from your work, I want you to know that you are not alone, and you don't have to navigate reinvention alone either. Thank you so much for joining me today for this episode of the Mindful Practice Podcast. In the next episode of the Career Clarity and Pivot series, we're going to talk about positioning yourself for a job opportunity. We'll discuss visibility, networking, LinkedIn optimization, transferable skills, and why physicians often underestimate their professional value outside of traditional clinical roles. Until next time, remember, you are not trapped in one version of success. You are allowed to evolve. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Mindful Practice Podcast. If today's episode resonated with you, you can find free burnout and career clarity resources at pinnaclebusinessacademy.org. And if this podcast supported you, please consider subscribing or sharing it with a colleague who might need it. Remember, you are more than your white coat. You are not broken, and you are allowed to evolve. Until next time, take care of yourself, not just your role.